Welcome to another slightly larger, bite-sized VO radio show. Has been a while, but we're back on deck. Robbo's in Sydney.
How are you?
I'm good, mate, and I'm down here.
As usual.
Now, as usual. I did actually catch up with Harlan Hogan during the week to talk about marketing. So, you know, we're talking about the way you run your business. You're not just a voice, you've got to do other stuff these days. And wanted to find out a few things that he's been doing. In fact, he's one of the earlier marketers. How about you? How do you do it?
Oh, how don't I do it? I tried a million different things and I'm trying even more. It's funny you should talk about it right now because it must be something in the air, something to do with spring being here, but I've actually thrown myself headfirst into a whole heap of it lately. I've sort of taken some advice from a mate of mine who is sort of a bit of a marketing guru. And I've actually been approaching people. I've actually been doing demos unsolicited. So to talk you through that, I have been listening around on things like MyTuner Radio and just through the web, just listening to radio stations from around the world, picking a station I think I have an idea for of something that they're not doing that may work and sound really good on their station. And then putting together just a little, 30-second, 60-second, whether it be a demo of a promo or a demo of an ID or something that I think will work for them. And through LinkedIn, getting in touch with the person I need to get in touch with and saying, hey, how's it going? Really love your station. Been doing a bit of listening and had this idea, not saying let me do it for you or whatever, but just sort of saying, hey, I think this would sound great on your station. And just recently picked up a station in South Africa to do a bunch of promos for. So I will be continuing down that path to see what fruit it bears.
Yes, indeed. Well, that sounds good. As you know, there's lots of things been going on in my sort of world as far as marketing's concerned. But I was really interested in finding out what Harlan did, because when I sent him an email telling him what I was doing, as he says in the interview, he nearly fell off his chair. He couldn't believe it.
Yeah, right.
So let's find out what Harlan has to do when it comes to marketing. Here's Harlan Hogan. On the line from Chicago, well, just outside anyway, our old friend, Harlan Hogan. How are you, Harlan?
Who are you calling old? Well, my gosh. That's like saying you're legendary. It means you got a foot in the grave. I'm fine, my old friend. How are you?
Yes.
Long time would be politically correct.
Oh, okay. Long time friend. Yes. Well, it has been a long time, actually.
It has been.
But now we want to talk to you about a couple of things. One is marketing. Mm-hmm. Now, you obviously have VoiceOver Essentials, but you've also got a very successful voiceover career. So marketing must be a major part of the way you do business.
It is. Always has been. I always kind of considered that my secret weapon, really.
Yeah. So how did you firstly think of going out and marketing yourself, and what tools do you use?
When I saw some stuff you sent to me, I laughed out loud, not at it, but just like, oh my gosh, I haven't thought about that in years. When I got, I had a bunch of failed careers, which is actually very important, I think, because you learn so much. I ended up at J. Walter Thompson Advertising for a division they had in which they did media training, meaning television, radio interviews and stuff, and then live presentations. And in that division, two things happened. One was the booth, and J. Walter was the largest ad agency in the States at that time. They had a full recording booth, and about the second day I was there, I got a call from a guy named Les Pinto, and he said, hey, I heard you were in radio. I said, yeah, I was. Well, come on down to the booth. As I went down, started immediately, like everybody else, doing free scratch tracks rather than my job. But it introduced me to the fact that there were people that actually did this for a living, which I really didn't know. The second thing was we were marketing this program called Communispon, and I, as part of my duties, was to get involved with promotion and direct mail in particular. And so we go through all these direct mail lists and figured out, which ones worked and do A and B tests, and we found that there was a mailing list, very expensive, but it was called Newly Promoted Executives. And that was our primary mailing list. And by targeting them, we'd get people in who realized they needed to improve their presentational skills. Blah, blah, blah. It was also one of the first courses ever to use video. So that was kind of our hook. So I did that for a while, and I had another job as an ad manager, and I finally said, okay, you always wanted to be an actress, what you want to do, and I quit my job and went off to do it. So then I sort of examined, like, okay, what do I have? We had agents here, but you weren't generally exclusive with an agent. And voiceover work was booked direct, and singers were booked direct. So you could deal directly with the ad agencies, and they actually were fairly happy to listen to your tape.
Yes.
You're old enough to know what tape is, right?
Yep.
And not a show reel, it was a demo tape. And so, in examining what I wanted to do, and I saw the people who were working, and I'm thinking, what can I do that they don't do? And the thing that I saw instantly is they weren't doing any promotion. The standard procedure was a white 5x5, 5-inch by 5-inch white box with a reel of tape inside, 7.5 ips. You took a felt pen and wrote your name on the edge. That's how it was done.
Yep.
So I went to a cheap printer somewhere and got something which is very, very in now, very day-glow color, and said Harlan Hogan on the end. And people were actually unhappy with me because that was kind of showy, and that's not the way we do it. And I didn't care because I wanted someone to look on their shelf where there was a sea of white boxes, and mine would jump literally out at them. So I decided, that's really what I know. I know how to promote. I know direct mail. I know how to do that. I'm going to do it better than anybody's done it so far. So without any real representation, I wasn't in the union yet, I went back to my roots at the agency and thought, okay, I'm going to look into direct mail lists and things, and who do I really want to get to? And at that time, I wanted to get to the ad agencies and the advertisers. And I remembered these big, huge books the size of the Chicago telephone book, maybe even New York, called the Redbooks. And I'd used them many times because you could find everything you needed to know in the Redbooks. So, armed with this secret knowledge, I realized, I've got to get to the Redbooks. And then I checked how much they cost. I have no money. I'm starting this business, giving up my job. I didn't have kids, and my wife was working, so that helped. And I can't remember how much they were back then, Andrew, but it was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, way beyond anything I could do. So I would go to the Chicago Public Library, and I did this for weeks, and I did it off and on regularly for the first 2 or 3 years in the business, and get out the red books with advertisers and advertising agencies and promotion people and all of that stuff, and go through them manually with yellow pads of paper that I was shocked were expensive, because when you have a job, you don't give any thought to pads of paper and pencils and paper clips and all the things you need to be in business, and now you suddenly have to buy them. And so I would just sit there and handwrite them out. And I had no guidance. There were no computers to speak of. They were just kind of starting. But, I would look for advertising agencies that did at least 50% broadcast, radio and TV, $1 million or more. I mean, the big agencies you knew about, but the smaller ones you didn't. And you'd find the creative director's name. That was worth getting to, he or she. Producers were worth getting to. Copywriters were worth getting to. Account executives you didn't want to get through. So I just did it the way that I'd done the same thing at J. Walter. And that's how I built my original list, right from the Red Books.
And that was kind of one of the reasons why we, as Real-Time Casting, approached Redbooks and started this discussion about opening the door so talent, instead of waiting, they could actually go and start fishing in the same pond.
Absolutely. It just was so funny because, you said to me, we got something coming along, and you didn't say what it was. And when I saw what it was, I did literally laugh out loud. I thought, oh, my God, that was 40 plus years ago. And then I thought, my God, I'd almost forgotten, as you build your own list and you get your names and, all of this stuff. And, of course, I went to the little free seminar thing to see, I thought this has got to have changed a lot. And, my God, it's so easy to use, and click here and search for this there. And I found 3 people who I'd worked for, and I knew their first name, but I never caught their last name on fairly recent sessions. Hey, Harlan, it's John so-and-so, and I've got Dale with me. It's Dale Harlan. And we got, so Van is going to be listening, and and you go, what were those names again? So I looked for Dale and Van from the advertiser and found their last names instantly. Now I can drop them a note. I can follow up with them. I can do, whatever marketing I want to do. And of course, that's the wild card. The names, all of that information is useless if you don't promote to them. And, to me, and I think I've probably said this to you before, the work of voiceover work is getting the work. Doing the work is easy. I love doing it, but the hard part's getting it. And relying on other people, you can get some jobs. You can get lucky with an agent or pay-for-play or whatever, but if you want to build a 40-year career, then you better attend to the marketing and following up and making those clients, long-term clients and oftentimes friends.
But it's been an interesting scenario because of the online casting sites that have been around. The way they've worked historically is they pretty well bombard the market with a script. Mm-hmm. So the producer, when he gets replies with auditions, is just buried.
Yeah.
And it's like a cattle call. You've got as much chance of, getting heard or booking that job as winning the car lottery down at the local shopping centre.
You probably might be. I actually had it on because I know you do some on camera too occasionally, and I had one of those today. Age appropriate casual. Come downtown at noon. So there's your whole day shot because it's 2 hours to drive in. Even if it only takes you an hour, you go to allow to and come home, and it's. I've done well with it occasionally, but it's so demeaning. You walk in, it's like, here's the usual suspects. All of us are the same age. We all know each other, and any one of us can do this job. So. It's the lottery.
It is.
And that's okay if that's just something you do in both our cases, I think, occasionally. But if I had that same scenario with voiceover, I'd have been out of the business a long time ago. The thing that I really hate is when I look at those sites is, you allow yourself to become a commodity. And I can't think, I don't know if both of them do it or not because I really don't go on the sites much. But last time I looked at one of them, it said, here's Jeff Norwood's demo. And if you like Jeff, here's 25 other people who sound just like Jeff. And maybe they'll work cheaper. And I thought, dear God, this is what we've come to. And, I've seen that with my, not so much my younger son, my older son, in that, looking around, trying to get a job, going to monster.com and I forget the other one, Indeed. And there's all these job boards. And it's kind of the same idea. You put your resume up, and there are people who tell you how to write a better resume, just like we'll give you a killer demo. And there's all these things that he was doing. But the one thing he wasn't doing was calling anyone or calling on someone or talking to somebody in the business he wanted to get into. Mm. And when he finally did, turns out a friend from college was working at Hartford Insurance, and he was interested in the insurance world, and he called him up. They didn't talk to him, 9 years. And he said, "Oh, hi, Jamie. You know what? You got to talk to Joe so-and-so because we are hiring now. We really need some people." He got a job with 2 phone calls.
Exactly.
I think you'd agree with me. Most casting, and I've done some of it, tends to be eliminating rather than choosing. You have so many candidates, or in the case of the thing I was at today, there's so many people there who could do it. I mean, your job becomes, okay, there's 40 guys here. They're all about the same age. And, well, let's see. Well, that guy's too fat. That one's too tall. That one's got gray hair. He's got a beard. Forget that. Ooh, that third one reminds me of my ex-husband. Oh, get rid of him. It's elimination rather than choosing. I mean, you don't want to be in that position ever as a performer. It's demeaning, and it's not a way to build a career.
Yeah. It's also the other thing, in fact, I was just answering an email just now saying with, the platform, real-time casting platform, mm-hmm. Where do I go and find auditions? It's like, well, you don't. They actually come to you because that person who's posted that project is going to get bombarded by everybody.
The thing I really love about Redbooks now, think about how crude it was, that yellow pages paper, the really cheap newsprint paper. And even as you're going through them, and I think then pretty sure they reprinted at least every 6 months. It might have been every quarter. even so, it was already behind because particularly advertising business people change so fast. And, that was one of my biggest things all these years is where did the person go? Sometimes they'll tell you, but usually they don't. And, because, you have this connection and you worked for them and maybe they went on to, a big agency in New York or L.A. and you just lose track of them. But with the computerization of Redbooks, you've got all that information. It's there. You can find them. When I was looking at it, I thought, boy, well, it's been 40 years. Yeah. Now it's easy. By the way, all those yellow sheets of paper, eventually I bought a Macintosh and put them all on a computer. I'm probably the first guy, and certainly in the Midwest, who had a computerized list. And the way I did it, because, they had like 32K memory, was to buy 26 floppy disks, one for each letter of the alphabet. If you remember floppy disks, they didn't hold very much.
No, they did not.
So I had this thing on my, on my table, and alphabetical with a floppy disk for each letter. But I had them, I had them on the computer, and I could do kind of a search and find somebody. I thought I was a genius. Now it's like click, 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 boom.
Yeah.
The other thing that's nice is you get to see, that's another thing is that's hard for us as talent. When the agency loses the account and it goes somewhere else, unless you really spend the time reading all the news and reading Ad Age and everything, which most of us really don't have time to do, you say, where did Captain D's go? Something you've done for years and years and years. You may or may not be able to salvage it because sometimes they go, for a different creative approach. But just to know you could find those people that you've been working for and they decided to go to a different agency and now you know where they are, find a creative, clever way to get in touch with them, you might be able to save the account for you.
And we all know the way advertising works. A lot of the times when a huge account changes agencies, a lot of the creatives actually change agencies with the account.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. Oftentimes it's a management thing more than anything else.
Yep, exactly.
Or a money thing or whatever, and they do change a lot. So having that computerization is good. And of course in other areas, manufacturers, directories, I did that a lot. You would look at, again, because I was used to dealing with direct mail stuff, so if I really want to get more narrative work, I could find the industrial companies in Chicago, which there's, it's limitless, and you could find the Baxter Lab. Well, you know where Baxter Labs is, but Redbooks wouldn't specifically, but the manufacturer directories would have, here's the director of training, the marketing manager, the person who puts on the live shows. The person who puts on the live shows needs Kermit the Frog. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jeff Norwood. They need somebody to do that stuff. And nobody approaches them. Talent doesn't even think of it. Agents don't think of it. And, you're acting just like normal business people that have something worthwhile to tell the person about and solve their problem. Because to me, that's all marketing and selling is just helping someone solve a problem. You're providing a solution.
Yeah, and you're making that solution easy for them.
Yeah, and usually I've found that we don't get residuals for corporate stuff. They are the most loyal customers you'll ever find. In fact, I just read this over the weekend. Here's the thing from an actual client. Harlan, here's a link to a video, which is a tagline you did for this guy 4 years ago. When he ran for the state senate, we dropped it in. Now we need it final with the new office because now he's running for Congress. So it's a 4-year-old fundraising narration. And 4 years after the fact, this guy finds me and says, we want to change a few lines. That's a great residual.
Yeah.
And as it happens, it was very, very short. I'm feeling guilty to tell, well, not totally guilty, but a little bit like, I'm just changing it. This so-and-so for Congress, I changed maybe 4 lines. So I sent it back and I said, hey, what do you want me to bill you? It's only a few lines and we have enough relationship or whatever. He said, no, not a problem. I'm not paying for this. Charge him again. Okay. Thank you very much. So, yeah, I've just always been a big believer, whether it's email now or snail mail or a promotional item that goes out, you just stand out so much. And then the other thing about having a really, really, really good list is it gives you wonderful opportunities, provided you keep notes, to contact people without saying, "Hi, got anything for me?"
Yeah, exactly.
My wife was an agent. I think I told you that. That's how I met her.
Yeah.
Very, 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 very good agent. And that was the thing that would send her through the roof. When talent would call her, "Hey, anything for me?" "That's nice. Couldn't you come up with some other approach? How was your weekend?" I mean, anything other than that.
Yeah.
And I've always thought the same thing with clients. "Hey, got any voiceover work for me?" Hey, come on. If you know something about them, then you can come up with a personalized message of some kind, whatever it is, and approach them, like one human being to another rather than Willy Loman trying to sell you something.
But you can also contact people, like if you're contacting your agent or whoever, with something of interest, some information you found out.
Yeah. And, I take notes about their kids. You don't grill them, but if you work for somebody more than one or two times, you begin to you get talking a little bit, and you find out something about them and maybe their hobby or whatever the heck it is, and now you've got something to talk about or a subject that they're very interested in. Something as simple as, a newspaper article about somebody winning, a sculling competition, and I know a guy that is an avid sculler, if that's the right term, in Washington. I wonder if send him this article. It doesn't matter if you saw it or not. "Hey, I saw this. I thought about you. Do you actually have you raced on that? In those shells. Have you raced your shell on that river? Oh, hi, Harlan. Yeah, I have a couple of times. You might not even get a job that particular time, but you've reminded them that you're a good guy and you keep track of people, and hopefully you're top of mind the next time he's got something to record.
Yeah, and also people forget. That's the other thing. Mm-hmm. People forget who you are if you haven't made contact for a couple of years or whatever, that you're gone, probably.
Yeah, and they may do that. Who was the person that we used for the thing? Jeez, I can't remember. Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's why I've had the same phone number for 40 years, by the way. It's 312, which was the only area code in Chicago 40 years ago. 312 HARLANH. And I've moved many times and all of that, and now it's obviously call forwards to a cell phone, but I've had that all those years. And I get calls. "Hey, geez, I haven't talked to you in 10 years. I can't believe you still have the same number." It's not quite as critical because we have the internet and people can, do searches, but there's plenty of people out there that look in their contact thing, and if they thought, of Andrew, well, they'll call you up, particularly...
Yeah.
Older people. Younger people don't call. They text. And that's fine, too.
Yep, I don't mind text.
Yeah.
If there's a bucket of gold at the end of the rainbow, text away.
You're right.
Yeah.
There's a great quote from Barnum, who I've got fascinated with because he's such an interesting character. Probably the best marketer in ever. And for his time in particular. But he had a great quote which was, "Without promotion, something terrible happens. Nothing."
Exactly.
And that is the truth. There's that other theory, too, of positioning, that we basically, and it gets worse as you get older, but we basically can keep 6 things in our mind at any one time. 6 names, 6 singers, 6 products we like, and that's the key to positioning a product. It's the key to positioning a person, so that you're on that list. Because once it's 6 or maybe it's 10, then they're struggling. Just like the person you said, yeah, it was really good. It's a guy had a deep voice. It's long gone.
Yeah.
And if you can make it interesting, if you can make it fun, but it's not enough to be interesting and fun or useful if it's a giveaway of some kind if you don't have the list and keep the list.
Yeah.
3 days ago was Joan Sparks, who was my agent for the last, 12 years here in Chicago, at least. And I see this with agents in particular. And I'm marrying my wife. That wasn't an anomaly. That's unusual. But you start out in just kind of a dance of, well, we'll try you out, and then you work. And, they're not your best friend necessarily, but you have a business relationship. And eventually you get to the point where you've dealt with them long enough and they've dealt with you that you can kind of relax. Now you're just people and you're in the same business and you don't worry about it. But I keep track of everybody's birthdays, which is not hard to do. But, just the fact that, it's her birthday and then the morning 2 days ago, I see, happy birthday, Joan. A lovely day for a lovely person, Harlan. Not anything fancy. It's just an email. Oh, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Now, just think if I had said, what a lovely day for a lovely person. Anything for me?
Yeah.
Actually, one of the worst ones I ever heard, this was quite a long time ago. This agent was, complaining about certain talent, and she said, I got this talent. And he made a new demo. It's cassettes, so that dates it. So it's Christmas time. I get this package, and it says, Merry Christmas from whoever he was. And I open up the package, and it's his new demo tape. I said, "What'd you do?" He said, "I threw it against the window and dropped him."
Wow.
Basically, if you're that insensitive and stupid, I'm not representing you.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And the other thing is...
my demo.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks so much.
Whoops. Clanger.
You faded out.
What
was that guy's name that called? I can't remember.
Yeah, that's right.
Foreign chap.
Yes. Exactly.
Well, I love the combination of having a way to get auditions, particularly if you have an agent, that the agent's involved, and now here's this tool. And I had no idea till I went out and looked at Redbook that it was $6,000 a year. Like, holy cripe! But if I think back, then they were $400 or $500, and if you do, I'd have to go on the computer, do one of those things. What is $450 or $500 in today's dollars? It's probably about $6,000. It's probably right in line with what they were charging back then, but that was impossible.
Yeah.
At that point, there was no way.
But now, the partnership is working to make sure that we can get access to Redbooks, which is a great thing.
It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Being stupid not to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm honest to God, I've looked at that and thought, even if you didn't want or get a single audition, and I don't work for you, it's just my opinion, but or for real time. But okay, so you really want to build a list, you really want to work the commercial market and everything. So instead of $6,000, it's what, $495 or whatever it is, and then $200. But please don't ever send me an audition that I don't want anything to do with you. It's still chump change. It's a job or two.
Yep.
And,
exactly.
Assuming you use the data that's there, it's just remarkable.
Yeah.
And even if you've been at, I was trying to say, even if you've been at it a long time, just going through that database and seeing names, oh my gosh, I didn't know that person went to New York. Wow. Hey, I got nothing to lose. I'll contact them.
Yeah, you can even say, send an email. Say, wow, it's been years. We worked together on whatever spot. It was great.
Yeah.
I wonder where you were. I just found you.
Just a simple reach out,
Yep.
Next time I'm in town in New York, let's grab a burger. I want to hear what you've been doing. Whatever's your personality.
Well, the power's back in the hands where it should be.
I agree.
While we've got you, of course, you have coming up in October. You have one of your seminars. Yeah,
actually, Dan O'Day is a guy that is just a marketing genius. Roots are in radio and broadcast, and we make a good team because he's one of those guys that just knows marketing cold, knows website design cold, knows how to do all this stuff, and then I'm me. So we do a teleseminar like this, very simple. and like 4 weeks, 2 days a week. And what we do is how to start or maintain your voiceover business. There's nothing at all about performance. That's not what we do. We talk about business. We talk about corporate structures, business structures, billing, invoicing, agents, pay-for-play, marketing, lots on marketing. And we have kind of unique. On the Monday night, we basically teach a subject, and then on the other night, it's all Q&A. And that really seems to, people like that, that we be very interactive and talk about specifics. And I'm actually looking forward to it after I get done with my vacation.
Because you're going sailing. Lucky you.
I'm going sailing for 2 weeks. I am. I can't wait.
Beautiful. So if anyone wants to get involved in your seminar, is it closed or are you still open?
No, we haven't even opened registration. You could just drop me a line or note or say, hey, I'm interested. We'll send you the information. Just Harlan at harlanhogan.com. And Harlan is Harlan, because people misspell it all the time. HarlanHogan.com.
Beautiful. All right. Well, once again, thank you very much, Harlan.
My pleasure as always, my friend. Come to Chicago.
Yeah, I will. Look, a friend of mine's actually recently been to Chicago and absolutely loves the place.
Yeah, it's a great town. It really is. It really is. It's beautiful. Particularly I love this time of year. It's sunny and fall. You get a little bit of breeze off the lake, and it's really nice. February, not so nice.
No.
February, go to Australia, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. All right, beautiful. Thank you once again, and we'll catch you very soon.
Okay, talk to you again. Thanks. Bye.
Cheers. Bye. So there you go. That's Harlan Hogan talking about how he turned his marketing prowess into not only a successful voiceover career, but also a very successful business career in the sense of selling voiceover essentials. Clever man.
And a lovely guy to boot.
Indeed he is. Lovely guy. And I think right at this very moment, he's getting ready for his big thing next month, so he's probably out there sailing. Lucky Harlan.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Well, spring has sprung here in Australia, so maybe we should be out sailing too. Yes,
I think you're probably right. Or selling.
Yes, or selling. Selling's probably more important at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I can hear Santa already.
Yes, already knocking at the door. I saw something on the news the other day. Someone saying it's 90 days till Christmas or something. I thought, God, it's already started.
You can always tell when you're about 6 months out of Christmas. Just go to Kmart.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Well, you can always tell when they're going to start selling Christmas because Easter's just finished.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. In fact, Easter eggs will be going in sort of late October, I think.
Yeah, hot cross buns. Yeah, they're usually the first things out there, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Well, that was a good show, mate. Well done.
Oh, thank you very much. And we'll catch you next week, because next week we're talking with an expat Aussie who now resides in Vancouver and has a very successful voiceover career. Nice. It's a guy called Matt Cowrick, so we'll be talking to him.
Okay. Can't look forward.
No, I wouldn't look forward if I were you.
I'll look
God
forward
knows what
to
you're going to see. Always look back. At least you know what's going to be there.
Yeah. See you next week.
See ya.
The VO Radio Show is produced in the studios of Voodoo Sound. To polish your next audio production, check us out at voodoo-sound.com. Find professional voices simply all in one place. Realtimecasting.com, including me.